In recent years, we've been seeing more and more South Africans challenging the conventional ways of parenthood and making use of alternative methods to becoming parents. Well, one such father is retired international rugby referee Jonathan Kaplan, a heterosexual man who opted to become a parent through surrogacy. The full details of his journey are contained in a book written by Joanne Jowell titled Winging It. Jonathan Kaplan's journey from world-class ref to rookie solo dad. Jonathan joins us now from our Sea Point studios in Cape Town to chat more about his book and being a solo dad. Good morning, Jonathan. Thank you very much for joining us on Morning Live.
Thanks, Tabile. Thanks for having me.
Jonathan, firstly, happy Father's Day. Now, take us through your journey to becoming a solo dad.
Yeah, look, I think I grew up the same as most people, conventional home, albeit a broken one. I had dreams of my own of having a family, but, you know, I was on the road for about 2.5 decades, doing 100 flights a year average. I was away from home for anywhere between 150 and 210 days. So between one thing and another, I never settled down. And, you know, I was never sure, I'm still not sure if it's, you know, my own character or circumstantial. But I got to a point where I made a decision that, you know, I wanted to have a family, and even if it was a little bit different, unconventional, even if the means were a bit different, I was happy to go down that path. And so when I retired in 2013 as a professional ref, it was almost like moving from one career or one project into another one.
Jonathan, I absolutely love your book, particularly because it speaks personally to me. Just your journey about, you know, not worrying about societal pressure, about, you know, the typical family that you would know of a mother and a father and then children following. What does it mean to you to be able to just do things your way?
Yeah, it's one of the things that I really value in life, actually. You know, convention is it's important, I suppose. Rules, norms. I mean, I was a lawman in a way. I was a referee, but I think sometimes challenging those and breaking them down is even more important, and that's actually how society moves on. And I'm not saying that this is ideal, because I still think that a happy family unit is better than a single parent option. But when you want a child as badly as I did, and time is moving on, and it's pointless reading about children in a book or that type of thing. I mean, for me, I've always said life is experiential, and so I wanted to experience what it was about. And so the doubters, the naysayers, those people never got in my way. When I was a ref, I remember one of the lines I used in my first book was from Winston Churchill. It says, if I had to throw a stone at every dog who barked at me, I would never get to where I was going. And similarly, you know, if I had to listen to every person that told me what life is about and how I should be going about doing what I'm doing, I also wouldn't get what I wanted to get. So yes, it's different. It's not for everyone. But I will say that it's better to be a happy single parent than be involved in an unhappy alliance, relationship, marriage, and then, you know, be bringing children into the world. I think sometimes children suffer more in that environment than in the one that is honest about the fact that they only have one parent, and in my case, it's me.
That's so true, Jonathan. Now, just finally, we're running out of time, but in the book, you share some of the most intimate and challenging and joyful moments about this process that you went through. Talk to us about, the finances of it, because a lot of people don't know that, you know, getting a surrogate is actually quite an expensive and taxing process. Just take us through that briefly.
Yeah, look, the two things you need for this process is time and finance as a resource. So obviously it's not a toy that you can just put in a cupboard during winter and then bring it out in summer. So I'm working part-time at the moment to be able to facilitate the relationship that I want with my son. And in terms of finance, it's not available to everybody. It is a costly exercise. You've got to pay the donor. It's a nominal amount for her contribution, but it's still something. The legal processes to ensure that the child is yours and not the surrogates, that can be quite costly. And then obviously every time you go through fertility treatment and IVF to try and get eggs fertilized, that in itself is very expensive. And I was very unlucky. I didn't fit the profile of 66% average that they advertised for success rate. I had about a year and a half of failure. So for me, it really drained my resource. But I will say that it's great to be acknowledged on Father's Day, and I'm very happy that I went down this road to have a son. He was moaning when I left, but when I get back with a croissant, he'll be very happy.
That's so amazing, Jonathan. We'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much for joining us. Happy Father's Day, and give Caleb a hug from us. That was Jonathan Kaplan, and he was speaking to us about his book titled Winging It.